Hello, all you scaredy cats and kittens, and welcome to the Two Scaredy Cats podcast, where we talk about all things strange, unusual, and paranormal. We're your hostess with the mostest. I'm Stacy.
And I'm Kara.
So, Kara, what has been going on since we've been together last? You were on a trip,
yeah,
a journey.
Of traveling.
Yeah, you've been on some journeys.
I had two back-to-back trips.
Where did you go again? I forget.
Well, the first one was just in Columbus, the convention center.
That's right.
And then the other one was in the Poconos Mountains.
That's right. Okay, I forgot. That was just last weekend. Okay.
Yeah, they were both very stressful. They announced that, so, like, you know how, like, some of the Columbus cons are, like, failing or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I told you about, like, that one. Well, and, like, a new one was, like, gonna start coming out. Well, they announced their dates, finally. It's gonna be April of next year, and they have a venue, and the venue looks really cool.
Where is it at?
It's like 40 minutes from Columbus, so it's not that bad. Newark, Ohio, I think is what it was.
Okay, yeah.
The con's called Sekai Con, in case anyone was curious. But it's inside of, like, it used to be, there's an arboretum.
Yeah.
So it's inside of an arboretum. And it's, like, I guess it used to be a Holiday Inn. So it's kind of like one of those cool, all-inclusive. I like when, like, the hotel is the convention center, since it's still kind of like a newer con.
It makes it nice, yeah.
And it looks really pretty, so we're hoping for the best.
Yeah.
And I've already booked my room, so I'm willing to support. I need to support these little baby cons.
Yeah.
So they can thrive.
So they can be big, and then you
it.
don't have to travel as far to go to these things.
And it's like, the room is like, I think because I just booked a room for me and Mario, and it's only like 150 split between us, and we could get like more people.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just for 2 people to share. It's only 150 a person.
That's not bad for the whole time.
For a weekend.
For the whole weekend, yeah, that's not bad at all.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Planning that. It's exciting for Columbus news.
I'm glad somebody.
And then I fly to Japan,
stuff,
and then I'm going to Japan in 9 days. So
I know, that's exciting.
A lot of travel.
Hopefully she has some really cool stories to tell us. She better check out some scary stuff while she's there.
Hopefully I can go to some shrines and stuff.
Yeah, that would be neat. I'd like to see some of that stuff. That would be cool.
Maybe they'll have, I wonder if they have like ghost tours.
Oh, they have to. I bet they do.
But do you think they speak English? Because I've been practicing
I would
Japanese,
think
but
with the
I really
amount
don't
of
think
tourists they have, they probably
I feel like they should, right?
Yeah. Especially if it's one for Tokyo, I feel like
that's what I'm thinking. Like Tokyo,
it would definitely, because a lot of people
Tokyo.
speak English there. They don't speak. I mean, in Tokyo. I don't mean in the whole country. I'm not.
Yeah, I feel like
asserting that, but I feel like
place.
because it's touristy and they got a lot of manufacturing.
Like I've been told by
and
other
a lot
people.
They got a lot of corporations that are down and based out of Tokyo. I feel like that they would speak a lot more English there than maybe on your countryside where it would definitely be Japanese.
Yeah. So
well, that's exciting.
I'll have some interesting stories when I get back.
Yeah, we can't wait to hear those in a couple of weeks. Yeah, that'll be cool. Well, I didn't get to do anything for the past 2 weeks because I've been down with COVID and now I have a sinus infection. So I have nothing exciting to report, unfortunately. Although I am going to see Beetlejuice tomorrow, finally, thank God. So there's that.
Well, that's good. I need to see that one too because it came out over the weekend when I was traveling. So. And just trying to like catch up because I have so much I gotta like do work wise. Luckily, I have my next con isn't for like 2 months, so
I
have
got
like,
a break.
A lot of time.
Yeah,
like we do have the Japan trip, and then we have our trip.
Yes,
we're doing a little spooky
I
trip
know. Yeah, we'll be talking about that
Colorado.
Soon. Not yet, but we'll be talking about that.
We won't say what it is, but it is in somewhere in Colorado.
We'll be talking about that trip in a couple weeks here. We'll go into detail.
That's actually relevant because
you're
probably not going to hear this, but I saw the other day circulating on TikTok.
Don't want to hear it.
That there was like this really creepy creature like
what?
Spotted in the woods, like on one of the mountain ranges in Colorado.
Nuh-uh, where we're going?
I'll just show you the
park,
photo. I don't
where we're going?
know if it's that specific area. It said Colorado somewhere.
Okay.
But it was. Did you ever see the new Alien movie?
Yeah.
Did you go see that?
Yeah.
You saw it? It looks like the creature
what?
at the end.
Oh no, I have not seen the new Alien. Oh,
okay. I was like, if you haven't seen,
no, I have not seen.
Okay, no. The new Alien.
No,
movie
not
that
the one
just
the one just came
Romulus.
out. No, I haven't seen that yet.
Well, if you're a listener and you have, I'm just gonna be vague and say it's like looks like the creature at the end of that movie.
Huh.
It's terrifying. I think it's probably just like It's always like a blurry photo in the background.
Somebody probably running around in a suit trying to freak people out.
It looks like this creepy humanoid creature thing. It's like white and it looks really scary. And it was just like, looked like it was climbing the side of a cliff and it looked like 10 feet tall. I saw like a bunch of TikToks about it, like talking about like these girls went on a trip and then they noticed in the background of their photo that thing.
Oh, that's creepy. Nothing like looking through your photos to see that. Ugh.
I know, it was really scary.
Oh,
I'll send the photo to you after.
Yeah, I want to see this. That sounds crazy.
But it was relevant because, like, you know, we're
going to Colorado. Yeah, great, wonderful, thanks.
Ish.
Not like I'm already on edge from this trip. Now you gotta make it even worse. Got it.
I know.
Speaking of movies, did anybody check out the new Netflix movie that dropped called Deliverance, based on the demon house that Zach Bagans purchased and then ended up destroying because of how
crazy.
Yeah, how messed up this house is. Did you get to see it yet, Kara? I know we were talking about it. But
I watched the documentary. I did watch that.
Oh,
part.
You did watch that?
Okay. I didn't watch
the actual movie
yet. The movie yet.
Oh, okay.
Because I got distracted.
So, and you were okay? Nothing weird happened to you? Because there is a disclaimer before that.
I saw that.
Did you see that? Yeah.
I was like, great. We're going to be cursed from watching this.
I told you that was pretty messed up, that documentary. The documentary that we're referring to, by the way, is on Amazon Prime, right, Kara? And it's called The Demon House, correct? Yeah. It's called The Demon House. So if you want to check that out before you watch the Netflix show, it might be useful so you kind of have an idea of what's going on, or you can just watch the movie Deliverance without watching the documentary and then watch the documentary later to get an idea of what all went down, or the real, kind of some of the real story of what happened. Because in the movie Deliverance, it's on Netflix, they kind of took some civil liberties and they changed where the actual town that this home is in. But a lot of the events that took place are true to what happened from the real story. So there are, there is some truth to it, but some of it, like the town is fake. It didn't happen in Pennsylvania. It happened in Indiana. So there is that. But if you haven't got a chance to watch it, I highly recommend it. It's really, really good. They did a decent job of portraying what happened in the movie. And it's, it's got all the jump scares that, we all love to have and stuff like that. So if you get a chance, check it out. Again, that is called Deliverance, and you can find that on Netflix. So we're going to go ahead and get started this week. I will not be doing anything just because I've been sick, and Kara's graciously decided that she will take on the story this week. So I will turn it over to her and let her tell us what we're going to be talking about this week.
And this story is really, really crazy. Like, really crazy. It's probably going to, like, haunt me. It's pretty scary.
Well, don't tell me that.
So this story is called The Witch Farm. So already red flags when you hear
I've never even heard of this. Huh, okay.
Yeah, I never either. I think it's because it's not US based.
Oh, so, okay. And is it in England, I assume, then?
The Welsh.
Welsh, okay.
Welsh?
All right. Yeah,
yes,
that's
Welsh.
kind of,
so like that.
I know what you mean. That's kind of like Scotland, England, up that way.
Yeah, this story is referred to as the Welsh Amityville.
Really?
So that's kind of what and we all know the Amityville.
Yeah, that was
or at least if you're somewhat, I feel like it's such a popular thing in the U.S.
Yeah, like you've seen one of the 50 movies they've made of it.
I know.
Remade it like 20 times now. Like,
yeah. Have we covered that? I don't think we have.
No,
yet.
We have not actually. We probably should.
Well, we should.
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, there's a podcast idea for one of us.
Yeah, really. There's
We will after this one because this is a scary, like really disturbing.
Maybe we will do that next time just to help. With
comparison.
Yeah.
So this story, we have poltergeist activity, we have apparitions, alleged possessions, and physical injuries.
Wow.
And a lot of exorcisms.
What?
A lot of exorcisms.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, fun fact, this place is the most exorcised place in Britain.
Really?
Like this home.
Huh. I've never heard of that. Really? Wow, that's crazy.
So our story begins on a family vacation to Egypt, because that's how all still good.
Oh, yeah.
That's
here we go. Now I know how this started. Oh, they probably brought something back they shouldn't have.
That's what I meant when I mentioned that, because we were talking about curses and taking stuff from Hawaii.
Yes.
It's not quite the same, but it has you know how Egypt is and their curses.
Yeah, and their stuff. You should never take it out of Egypt, man, because bad things will follow.
So Liz and Bill Rich and their Bill's son from his past marriage, Lawrence, went on a trip to Egypt to visit the pyramids and the resting places of the pharaohs. One day of the trip, they all got up really early to beat the crowds at one of the tombs, and they were one of the only people at the time inside. And Liz was leading them, and when they turned a corner to enter the chamber, she noticed a bunch of floating lights around, which didn't make any sense.
What?
Yeah, isn't that weird?
That is weird. Wait a minute. So she walks in this chamber and there's just floating lights and she's not concerned about it at all?
Well, she is concerned because she brings it up to the other two.
Right.
Do you guys see this? And they don't see it. It's only her. Which is
that's
weird.
Weird. Yeah. Huh.
And then, so they're talking about oh, that's weird that you see this. I don't see that. The other two feel an intense feeling of dread stepping inside the chamber.
Ooh.
And then all three of them feel like a presence has entered the chamber with them. And then the three immediately run out of the room because their flight or fight response got triggered by it.
Right.
And so that's where we begin. And then after this is when they move into a remote farmhouse located in Brecon Beacons National Park in Wales.
Okay.
It was the dream house for them to start a family. It was super isolated. The tip, kind of like what you want. You want to live on a farm in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And then, so Liz was pregnant at the time. And the house was very remote in the wilderness. So the summer went well for them. They just started moving into their home. And their baby boy, Ben, was born in October.
Mm-hmm.
And then a month after he was born was when things really started to get weird in the house.
Okay.
They began to experience loud, heavy footsteps. Doors slamming shut, but then, so they would hear it sounded like the door slammed shut, but then they would look and the door didn't actually move at all, but it sounded like the door shut.
Oh, okay.
Which is really bizarre.
Yeah.
But sometimes they did have actual door shutting, but
right.
A lot of bizarre stuff was starting to go on. And then Lawrence actually began to go through some really weird personality changes.
Yeah, that's never good.
Yeah, not good.
No.
And then they would have crazy hot and cold spikes in the house. And then one of the things that they could track, legitimately track, their energy meter would spike suddenly.
Huh.
And they didn't realize this at the time, but when they got their first bill, it was €750 Euro for 3 months.
Oh my gosh. Holy moly.
That's roughly €2,000 today, because this happened in 1989.
That's ridiculous.
That's about $2,200 for 3 months of electricity.
That's
considering
insane.
it's a remote,
right.
It's a remote location.
They're probably
too. There's
not
not
using
that many appliances.
Yeah. Jesus.
Even it stumped the energy provider, and they came out and they sent multiple peoples, and they couldn't figure out what was going on.
Huh.
So that was stressful because now they're in financial stress.
Well, yeah,
because of this.
The spell, yeah.
So they started to believe that there was a curse on the home. Bill's job was a painter, and all of his clients suddenly just disappeared, and they weren't making as much money. They financial struggles, and so they were forced to sell their car. Ooh. So they were even more isolated from the world because they were already super isolated.
Wow.
Because of the location.
Right.
And then all of the animals on the farm even began to display really bizarre behaviors.
Okay, now that...
They had a goat.
That would have been...
Yeah, that's how we know things get weird.
I would have been... Yeah, that would it. I'd been going.
It's kind of interesting what they finally are we're done here, but...
So what happened with the goat? What was it doing?
The animals. So, the goat gave birth and then immediately killed one of the babies, which is weird. Oh my
gosh, yeah. That's
insane. Just stomped it to death.
Oh my gosh.
Which is
weird. That's not usually something that goats do.
Yeah, and then their pig got a disease, and so it had to be killed.
Okay.
But this is it all happened really close together.
That's crazy.
All of these weird animal things. Their family dog started acting weird and it ran away.
Oh my gosh.
The cat started walking, just like pacing in circles, which is really weird around the house.
Okay, see, at that point, I'd be like, okay, there's something in the house, because when
there's
the cat
too much
starts
going
acting
on at
weird, when the cat starts acting weird, then there's something, there's something.
Yeah, cats can like sense things.
Yes, and so can dogs. So if the dog ran away, obviously it doesn't want to live there.
I'm like the dog said, "I'm
right." That should have been your first clue. If the dog's gone, maybe you should be checking some stuff out.
They had a pet hamster, too, and they found that dead in the cage randomly.
Yeah.
And because, like I said, it all happened pretty short amount of time. It was really stressing them out, like, what's going on.
Dang.
And the haunting began to take a really bad turn for Lawrence, the son, because he started to become, distant.
Wait a minute, then, Lawrence, how did we get us? I know they had the baby, that was Ben, but did they have another son?
Remember, they had the son.
Oh,
I mentioned how it was Liz, Bill, and Bill had like a kid from a past marriage, so that was the son.
Okay.
And he got along well with the mom. Like, obviously, anyone put in a situation with like a new parent there's gonna be some tension, but they got along fairly well before they moved into the house.
Oh, okay. So after they moved into the house, things started.
Yeah, he started getting distant.
Okay.
Bill let him paint his room whatever color he liked, and then they found.
Did he
when
choose
they went
black?
upstairs to see. No, he chose red, like blood red.
What?
Which is very ominous color. Isn't that scary?
That is, that's. Although I shouldn't be making statements because your brother's room is kind of red, but he does have a gray wall, so it's not totally red. It's red and gray.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But I mean, Sam's always liked red.
No, I know. Yeah, I know. But to see, it would be very jarring to see a room painted totally red, though. I can see that. Yeah.
And then he would keep the two awake at night because he would just bang on the walls in his room. And he would watch horror movies at full volume.
Oh, okay.
It was really weird.
And we didn't think that is a sign that something's not right, and maybe we should.
I mean, they also had other stuff going around the house, so it's not like it was. This was all happening around the same time.
I know. There's like a lot of shit going on, and they didn't like feel at all like hey, maybe there's something going on here.
And they have a newborn baby too, because like the baby was just born.
Right. That's crazy.
There's just so much going on because there's still a lot more we haven't even covered.
That's insane.
So Lawrence's grandma came to visit, and she noticed his really weird, just like change of personality. And she tried to confront him and be like, hey, why are you acting like this? And he screamed at her in her face to leave him alone. And then the grandma tried to say something else because she was like a little taken aback.
Right.
And he screamed at her in a disturbing voice. Like it sounded like like
it changed. It got really deep. Yes.
Allegedly, it was in that like crazy demonic voice that F off.
Oh.
Said the actual word, but
oh my gosh, to his grandma?
He spit on her. He spit on his grandma. Isn't that insane?
That's oh my god, that's
and that's like
crazy.
That wasn't even like his behavior before. Like he was like pretty chill guy.
Now, how old was this kid? Was he a teenager or?
Yeah, I think he was like a teenager.
Okay. All right.
So I mean, it kind like you could be like okay,
right? But I don't know too many teenagers that go around spitting on people and telling them to go F off. Though
it gets worse. Okay. As if it couldn't, but
I was gonna say, I thought we were already there, but go ahead.
No, yeah, you would think. So he went to his room after, and he locked himself in there, and the couple were kept up again because he was screaming, literally like just screaming in his room.
Gosh.
And then the next day, he finally left his room, and they were able to like go check in the room, and he had completely like destroyed his room. He had punched holes in the wall.
Oh my gosh.
And like it was just crazy.
Wow.
Crazy, like disturbing. So they've realized, okay, we really need to figure something out.
Well, yeah, you got that baby in the house. What happens if he like starts beating on the baby or something?
I know. So they finally decide they need to do something, and they reach out to a Catholic priest.
Yeah, that's where I would go first.
Yeah, I'd be like, maybe just a little sooner.
Tell him to bring the holy
you never
water
know when you're in that.
Yeah, but tell him to bring the holy water, man. Bring buckets.
So, yeah. The priest came out, and they did a little blessing, and then things chilled out for a few days. However, 4 days later, when returning home with the baby, Ben, Liz noticed a face of an old lady in the window of Ben's nursery.
Oh, that's creepy.
Like,
wait,
just
like
floating?
Oh my god, okay.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So she rushed in to check, because she was like, what the heck's going on? And there was no one there. And then they kept seeing, they still keep seeing, like, the apparitions of this lady.
Huh.
So it's like one of the people haunting. Because it seems like there's a lot more going on. Which we'll find out the real reason because But we're in for a ride, is all I'll say.
Okay.
Because things start to kind of making sense of what's going, well, as much sense as you can for paranormal stuff.
Right.
But so word about the bizarre paranormal experiences began to float around in the community, and a bunch of spiritualists, Catholics, and mediums all
want to come out. Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
You know, they all
got to
out
get their
and
10 seconds of fame.
Things.
Yep, they want to get their 10 seconds of fame.
And there's so many rumors flying around. There were 7 witch spirits in the house.
Oh, my gosh. That's funny.
And then some said it was a Celtic burial ground.
Oh, really?
So that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
And they finally kind of settled on that there was, like, 4 main entities that were kind of haunting the old lady.
Uh-huh.
Then there were 2 other male spirits, and then there was one unknown entity that they really couldn't figure out what was going on.
Okay.
So they actually ended up sending Lawrence off to a boarding school in hopes that maybe, like, getting away from the house would help.
Right.
And it actually worked. And he did, like, his personality did, like, a full 360, like, or 180, I think.
Wow, really? Okay.
And he became, like, the positive person he was before the house. So clearly there's something wrong
with the house.
With the home.
Yeah. Huh.
And so weirdly, I know we talked about other, like, the animals around there, but there's there was issues with animals even just in the general area.
Oh, like deer
calves
and birds
and lambs
and
were being born. Yeah, well, calves and lambs were being blind or deformed.
Oh my gosh,
very odd. Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy.
Locals in the area had actually started reaching out to them to tell them, like, this, like, was stuff that was going on before they even moved in.
Oh, so that was going on even before they moved into that house, is what you're saying. Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. And nobody thought to tell them, hey, we've been having these problems?
Mean, they want to sell property. They're not going to be hush-hush.
I guess they didn't want to.
And you know, like, rural towns kind of keep to themselves for a bit, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Because
especially when you first move. They don't really know if they can trust you.
Yeah.
And a plumber that they called to fix a toilet in their house because it had moved itself from the wall, which was weird.
Wait a minute, it moved itself from the wall? Okay.
And they called to fix it, and the plumber comes out, and it was moved back. So that was bizarre.
What?
But he had told him, or, like, he told the Liz, the mom or whatever, that they had actually had something similar happen in this house, because he's, like, from the area, in 1960s. Where they had installed a radiator in the house, and the woman had received a bizarre, for the woman that lived there before. And they received a call the next day that the radiator had removed itself from the wall. And they did this, so he would go out and fix it, and then the next day it would be removed again. And they didn't understand how it was happening, because, like, this old lady can't do this, like, couldn't do it herself.
No, you would probably
like, they had attached the radiator.
Yeah, special
That's, like, a heavy
to
thing, too.
Yeah. Huh.
So there's other weird stuff going on, and it wasn't just from the past. So a builder had also reached out to the family to tell them that the house they were in was built from the stone from old forgotten graves that were damaged in the area.
Oh my gosh, stop
so,
it
like,
right
I
now.
think that explains, I think, a lot of the reason why there's so much, like, energy.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Holy moly.
Like, why would you build a house with graves? That's crazy.
Insane. Unless they were trying to be cheap, you know what I mean?
I think that's what happened. But
wow.
it was like, what?
That's insane, yeah. That's not good.
This gets even more bizarre. So Bill was contracted to paint some horses for, like, a local family around there. And he needed the money, obviously, from the other issues. So he took the job. And while he was, like, working on painting the photos of the horses, he was having a lot of issues with painting the leg of one of the horses. Like, he just could not get it right. And it was really bizarre. And he thought it was very strange. And when he kind of showed the client, like, hey, I don't know what was going on, that horse actually had died because it broke that leg.
What?
Isn't that wild?
That is crazy.
And the field that it was painted in was the exact field that the horse died in and was buried. And the spot that the horse was in was where it was buried. Like, he painted. Oh my! Like, he didn't have this. Isn't that crazy?
That's nuts.
And it, like, disturbed the person that he paid, so the guy just burnt the painting because he didn't.
Oh my god! I don't blame him. Good gosh, that's nuts.
I was like, this just gets crazier and crazier the more I find out about this place. And then, so Liz ended up seeing a 7-foot-tall shadow figure with a really crazy head shape. And that led her to realize that they need to leave the house.
Yeah, you think?
So, I feel like they should have left before, but...
Right? They should have left, like, when the dog and the cat were acting weird, but that's just me.
Yeah. So they end up leaving to stay with Liz's mother for the time being, and while there, the strange occurrences kept going on. So that was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Liz's mother found an Egyptian pendant in their house, which was strange because, like, it wasn't hers, and when she showed it to Liz, they didn't recognize it either. And then Bill picked it up, and he felt a shock, and he ended up destroying the pendant because he was scared of it, which I don't blame him.
Yeah. So from
the beginning,
do they think they brought it? Yeah. Did they bring it back with them? Maybe on accident?
No,
did somebody put it on their possession, or did they?
I don't know. It was very weird. There's so many just bizarre stuff going on in this. Case. So they returned to the witch farm eventually with a Baptist minister and a former Satanist.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, okay, we're trying everything.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Wait,
I feel like they're just kind of desperate.
Do you just like look in the yellow pages and find a Satanist?
Like I don't know how that works. People?
I don't know.
So they made Liz and Bill burn a bunch of their belongings because they were concerned that like the energy of whatever was holding on to their stuff.
Right.
So they burnt like all of his paintings because I think also probably the paintings had a lot of energy because it seemed like one of the entities was really attached to him specifically.
That's what I'm thinking, yeah, and they're forcing him to do this stuff, yeah.
Because he kept doing those weird paintings.
Yeah, so I can see why they would probably want to burn those.
Yeah, so they burnt a lot of their stuff, and it did help.
Mm-hmm.
And so this actually helped a little bit with some stuff, but they were still having the electricity issue, which we can't figure out what is absorbing all their electricity.
Yeah, that's insane.
And Liz was pregnant again, also. And the activity, so everything chilled out for a little bit, but then Liz was pregnant, and the activity started to ramp up. So I don't know if maybe there's something like with the pregnancy that, because remember it started ramping up. I guess it ramped up after
when she was
born,
pregnant
but still,
with Ben or whatever. Yeah. Huh.
So Bill began experiencing nightmares about Egypt and a very odd and large figure with a bird head.
Wait a minute, that's what she saw, though, wasn't it?
I know, she did say it was a weird thing with a weird
you said it was a weird-looking head.
But then they started seeing the figure from his nightmares in his home. So the figure was back. And Liz realized it was the same figure she had seen before prior.
Right,
the one that had caused her to leave the house. So that thing was back. Great.
Yeah, right. That's all you need.
And a new exorcist actually gets involved. And things started to calm down for a bit. Because I told you, there was a bunch of exorcisms that happened to this house.
Right. Jeez.
But then it got really bad. One night, Bill had a scary encounter where he noticed a kitchen knife was left out, like on the counter, which was weird because why would they do that considering they have a bunch of children? They have young children in the house.
Yeah.
And he was like, this is weird. So it caused him to have very intense feelings of death and violence. Like he wanted to like hurt people.
Ooh,
so it scared him and he put the knife away. And then he turned around and the knife was back on the table.
Ooh.
Isn't that scary?
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, I don't think it's good either. So, in 1995, the final battle for the home was conducted. The final exorcism. Eddie Burks was the name of the exorcist, or guy, and he returned with 2 paranormal investigators. One of them was actually Maurice Gross, which was the lead investigator of the Enfield poltergeist. Which was the lead paranormal investigator that The Conjuring 2 was based on.
Right.
So, Eddie Burks believed that they had figured out the identity of the entity of the home, which they believed it was an ancient, evil, pagan entity. Which was interesting.
Yeah, how'd they come up with that it was pagan? That was my question.
I don't know. But they focused the exorcism on that specific entity, and it seemed to work.
Oh.
The Riches immediately noticed their electricity bill dropped.
What? So, that's insane.
That's crazy. So suddenly, whatever it was, that thing was whatever was hogging up their energy. Like,
well, it was using that energy to help do all the stuff that it was doing. Yeah, exactly. Huh.
So they noticed their bill drop, and then slowly all the paranormal activity started to lessen. It did not go all the way completely because, like I said,
the house was made with those bricks.
It was bricks. So, but most of the entities, it was not a negative thing anymore.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, it was. Yeah. You know how sometimes they're like normal ghosts, kind of
just banging around. But
they'll still see like apparitions and stuff in their garden, but they're no longer like as prevalent inside the home. So they're able to like at least live there normally.
Right. Yeah. Huh.
Because I still think there was already like a lot of spiritual energy from, like we said, the graves.
Yeah, the unmarked gravestones using those for part of the building the home. Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah.
I can't believe they did that.
We think that someone probably who owned that lot or that plant was who let the pagan entity in, and they probably didn't realize it was like a really bad one. And I'm curious if you think if it like clung to the ideas of like the Egyptian things because they had went there before, and it was kind of, I'm like really confused where the Egyptian things comes into play.
Yeah,
because pagan and Egypt is different, aren't they?
Yeah, it's
or maybe it was just different. Using that as like
maybe a catalyst to help. I don't know.
But
it's really weird that they were in that weird cavern thing in the beginning of our story.
Kind of start,
and then and then they felt all that weird stuff. Like the lady felt all that weird stuff, and then they get home, and then they find this, doubloon or whatever from Egypt.
Yeah, that's weird. And
you know what I mean? Yeah,
the mom's house, which was bizarre.
Yeah, which was weird. Yeah,
there's a lot of weird things in the story.
Yep. I've never heard this story before. That's really interesting.
I didn't either, and I was like, this is a really crazy story.
I'm surprised they haven't made a movie out of this, honestly. I feel like this would make for a good movie.
I think it would.
So if anybody's listening that's like a movie producer, you might want to check out this story and turn it into a movie.
Yeah, there's a book about this called The Testimonial.
Oh, really?
And it's based off of, and it's like goes way more in depth. It has like eyewitness accounts and stuff. Okay. So if this really interests you, you should look at The Testimonial.
Okay, I have to go check that out.
Mm-hmm. And there's also someone did like a 10 podcast series on this too.
Really?
10 episodes of podcast. That's a long.
That is.
I mean, there's a lot. I mean, I kind of like tried to skimp it down because we don't normally do deep, in-depth things.
Dives.
But
yeah.
We're more like, ooh, listen to this crazy story.
Yeah.
But there are places that do that.
Yeah. Huh.
So that is our story for today. It was a long one, too. But I think it worked out since it was just...
If you live on a property and you start having animals doing weird things and your dog decides to leave and your cat's circling around the house...
Or if your child's acting crazy. Like, listening to horror movies and banging on the walls.
Yeah.
It could just be a teenager. But, like, I feel like there's a line between, like, being a teenager angst and that was crazy. Yeah. Spitting on grandma?
Yeah, spitting on grandma, that's like over the edge. Yeah, then it might be time for you to start.
He immediately gets fixed as soon as he goes to boarding school, which he didn't want to go to. Like, he was pretty like, I don't want to do this. But then he went.
Yeah,
and he's like,
probably because
I feel
he
better
was possessed by whatever was in him. And
I'm not sure.
You know what I mean?
I wonder what was possessing. Was it the entity? We don't know.
I don't know. But once the entity lost him, you know what I mean? It was a little harder for him to do his bidding, I guess.
Yeah, it must have been connected to the house or so, like that
That's
area.
What I'm thinking. Yeah. Maybe it's the whole property. I don't know. I have to.
I think it might have been that like land, that area.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Because you said it was in a national park, did you not?
Yeah,
or a state park or something, some kind of park.
Yeah. Oh, Brecon Beacons National Park.
So it's a national park. So you got to look up the history of that and see what happened. That might explain a lot.
Yeah. But that was a crazy one I'd never heard of.
Yeah. That was a good one. I haven't heard that one.
Yeah, I was like, well, I got a good one for us today because this is a buck wild. And, like, you keep thinking, like, oh, this is already insane, and it gets even more insane.
Yeah.
And just kind of scary. Like, some of the seeing, and the knife thing was really disturbing. Yeah, I could kind of see where they're getting the Amityville. Luckily, no one died, so.
Right, yeah, because in the
That's what I was scared when I read it. I was like, the Welsh
Amityville. The whole family goes, yeah.
Luckily, no one died in this one, so there's that.
Yeah. Huh. Very interesting.
A lot of traumatized people, though, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Well, so, out of everyone who's willing to talk about it, the son was not, the one that was possessed.
Oh, he didn't want to talk about it?
He's the only one that's not, like, willing to, like, go out and like do interviews about it and stuff.
Interesting.
Probably, I mean, honestly.
Well, I can understand why. Jeez, yeah. I mean
every time he spent in there was probably a really dark time.
Right.
I'm always curious, like, what it's like to be possessed. Not that I want to be possessed.
Okay,
but, you know what I mean?
Let's not put that stupid stuff out in the universe.
I know, that's why I said maybe I should
walk that back. Yeah, you better walk that back real quick.
I need to not watch that video where it says you get possessed by watching that documentary.
Jeez. Good grief. But anyway, so that was interesting.
You have anything else for us today? Okay.
Oh, just that. Okay, remember how we were talking about the vampires in Dayton, supposedly?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Did you see that got canceled?
Yes, they canceled it, okay. But wait, it gets even more, like, weird and wild. So apparently, it turns out, I guess, there were vampire clubs, okay? But it wasn't like a vampire cult. It turns out that the cop that I had talked about that was in the club that had infiltrated and got inside the club and all that, he apparently, turns out he's a Satanist. What? The cop was. Yeah, the cop.
That's weird.
Yes, so he was the one that was kind of involved with that kind of involved in the whole disappearance of that one guy. The guy that still nobody has found yet. They haven't found him yet. There's a lot of people that speculate that there was a guy that worked with... who's the guy that's in charge of the Satanic Temple? What's his name? Is that LeVay?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if
I can't remember his name. But no, yeah, this guy used to work for the Satanic cult, and now he lives up in Dayton, and he's kind of like in charge of like this weird cult there in Dayton now. But it's not like a vampire cult, it's more like a Satanic cult. But yeah, so keep your eyes open. That story just keeps, more and more stuff comes out about that. But yeah, they're not doing the Netflix now. At least they say they're not. Hopefully, maybe
I was like, why?
Somebody else will pick it up. Well, because the family asked them not to.
Oh,
because it's still kind of a open case, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. And I guess they're worried that, I don't know, maybe it wouldn't get solved. You know what I mean? That if that were to happen, if it were to come out, I don't know.
Makes sense.
I don't know, but some crazy, crazy stuff is going on in the world. People, keep your eyes open.
There is.
All right. Well,
if you enjoyed our podcast today, follow us on Instagram and YouTube at Two Scaredy Cats Podcast, and please be sure to leave a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It really helps the show get discovered. And tune in 2 weeks for a new episode. And to all our scaredy cats and kittens out there, remember, curiosity didn't kill these two scaredy cats.